Devin Singletary or James Cook?
Ooh.
Who should you have more stock of
Come on.
in fantasy football this year? We're going to talk. We're going to debate.
Mm-hmm.
We have to choose one or the other. Again, these videos are not based off of who do you think is going to score more points. The video is based off of their ADP. Who are you going to draft more of?
Yeah.
If you look at ADP from Fantasy Pros, right now, Devin Singletary is a running back 29. Cook is a running back 39. That was surprising to me how far off that was.
Mm-hmm.
Underdog
Definitely
ADP, much more closer. Singletary is 33. Cook is 38. And our last 3 mock drafts, which I feel like they're being drafted really close. And our community is showing that as well. In our last 3 mock drafts, Singletary is averaging the running back 34, and Cook is averaging the running back 35. Singletary had a pretty good year last year, over 1,000 yards. We're going to talk about this. I'll go first.
Yeah.
I have Devin as my running back 35, Cook as my running back 37.
Mm-hmm.
I am taking Devin Singletary here. I know there's going to be reports that come out throughout the offseason. James
Already
Cook's
been reports.
looking great, and he's catching passes. But this is his role. He should be having those reports.
Yeah.
I'm taking Devin Singletary. Let me ask everyone a question, and even you, Badake. Did we all potentially miss the Devin Singletary breakout? I don't think anyone talked about this. And let me just explain in 1 second.
I know why, but you can go ahead.
I know. It feels like this was so unreported, not talked about that, and we might even had a part to play in that.
Maybe.
That I think some people are maybe not realizing how good Singletary was in stretches last year.
Mm-hmm.
He finished as the RB18. In weeks 1 to 7, how confusing was that backfield? Zach Moss. Oh, it's Zach Moss season. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Devin Singletary is going to play. And
Matt Burita's
then you look at weeks 8 to 18. Weeks 8 to 18, a real good chunk of the season in the stretch. Devin Singletary in that span was the running back 7. He was the guy when it comes to touches as well, averaging 15 touches per game. 15 touches per game in the Bills offense. Weeks 8 to 18, incredible. Then you go to the fantasy playoffs. Guys, it's crazy to say, but the most valuable running back in the fantasy playoffs was Devin Singletary. No one scored more points in the fantasy playoffs than Devin Singletary. He was the RB1. He was getting 21 and a half touches a game. 21 and a half touches a game in this Bills offense.
Yeah, it was.
Then you go to the playoffs,
crazy.
right? In the actual NFL playoffs, he was giving 17 and a half touches per game. Zach Moss was the only other running back to even touch the ball once in the playoffs. And guess how many times he touched the ball? Once.
Once?
Once. Point being, Devin Singletary from week 8 onwards was the dude in this backfield.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting the opportunities. He was putting up the fantasy points. And when it mattered the most, he was getting the opportunities. Secondly, reports are saying that he's going to be the lead back.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think we expect that. I expect Devin Singletary to be the 1-2, Cook to be the 3. And reports already coming out that the coaching staff is firmly behind Devin as the team's lead back. We take everything with a grain of salt at this point.
Yeah.
But lastly, the role I envision for James Cook, I think it's going to be valuable. I just think I want Devin Singletary more. When I look at James Cook, when I scouted him, my pro comp for him was James White. I do believe that he can be a premier third down running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
However, I just don't see a scenario in which the Bills move away from this being a committee. You look at other rookie running backs. We've talked about Ken Walker. You talk about Javonte last year.
Mm-hmm.
Normally the conversation is, well, throughout the season, these guys will be the guy eventually. That's what you hope. I really don't see a scenario in which that happens with James Cook. I think their roles are solidified. James Cook, even if he plays well, he's not going to be a workhorse running back. So for me, again, I think if you're drafting James Cook in the hopes that he's going to be the guy, I don't think that ever happens. I don't think they ever move away from a committee. And on the goal line, it's Devin Singletary, in my opinion, getting those opportunities. So again, I have them ranked very close, but I'm going to go Devin Singletary here. I think he had a very impressive year last year. And if that didn't happen, I think we would have more reasons to be hopeful about Cook. But this team really likes Devin, and he really performed with his opportunities last year.
Yeah, and I believe, I just tell you who I'm saying. I'm taking Devin Singletary as well. I am a
Okay.
Cooks believer. I'm a believer that Cooks could be the guy that is, Cooks could be the guy, period. I think he could be a first and second down back, or all third down back. A lot of people don't believe that. I don't believe that they will give him the opportunity to be that, but that's what
Okay.
I believe he could potentially be.
That
So
would suck for him, by the way, because in Georgia, sorry to interrupt, they don't give someone the guy opportunity.
yeah,
And then you go to the Bills, they've not ever really given anyone the guy opportunity. Here.
exactly. So that's why I believe in Cook so much. I believe he is a spitting image of his brother. Obviously, his brother is a lot bigger. He has proven himself in the NFL, but James Cook can bring kind of what Dalvin can bring to an offense, in my opinion. This is going to be a running back by committee. I am taking Devin Singletary. I actually moved Devin Singletary a couple of spots higher now in my rankings after doing this, because I always had Singletary and Cook really close to my rankings. Now there's a little bit of a gap. I guess
Where do they stand in your rankings? Then?
My rankings, Singletary is my RB 32. Cook is my RB 39 now. Okay. So I actually had him really close, but once again had to move Singletary above. So yeah, it's a must. I mean, what you said in the playoffs. I mean, Singletary was doing crazy stuff, averaging 19.7 points, fantasy points per game. He was winning people weeks.
That's great.
For the James Cook role, I don't see how he will not be fantasy relevant at all.
I agree.
And before the season even started, before the NFL draft happened, they signed J.D. McKissick, just like you always say, they signed J.D. McKissick for a specific role. They wanted to utilize J.D. McKissick in whatever way they're going to be using James Cook in this way. Why can't James Cook be the J.D. McKissick, the Tony Pollards, the RB2 in the committee, just in any offense, And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And I also believe another thought process is that they want to eliminate Josh Allen taking touches. He's an elite quarterback for sure. He's elite on the ground and with his arm. But I always go to this. When you see Lamar Jackson, elite with the arm and on the ground, he missed 6 games this past year. They missed the playoffs. When or if Josh Allen gets hurt, that is a product because he is running too much, just like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson got injured because he was putting his body at risk every single play. And with quarterbacks, you want to avoid that as much as possible. Sure. So I think, does James Cook automatically resolve this problem? Probably not. And I do believe Josh Allen is going to continue to run as much as possible. But I think it definitely does eliminate the opportunity for Josh Allen to put his body at risk even less. So I agree with everything you said with Singletary. I am taking Singletary. I have him higher in my rankings now. But honestly, whoever's available, I'm happy to take. If Singletary's there, awesome. If James Cook is there, awesome. Let's do it. Let's do RB3, RB4. James Cook can even fall to you as your RB4. Could be a pass-catching guy. I mean, he can finish, in my opinion, as a top 35 guy if this offense is going to produce the way that we all are expecting to.
And that was something that I was going to highlight that is super important for James Cook. There has to be a change of philosophy for Josh Allen. And that has to be something that's important to the Bills coaching staff.
Yeah.
How do you meet this middle ground of, oh my God, you're an elite quarterback, and part of that being elite quarterback is what you do on the ground? Well, we want to protect you. Where do you meet in the middle there? Yeah. Because you're kind of taking away what he's great at, but you don't want him to get injured. Where is James Cook here? And I've talked about this before. Josh Allen hasn't been a heavy dump off quarterback to his running backs. Maybe, again, that philosophy changes this year. And that's what that has to happen if you're a James Cook owner.
Yeah, it definitely has to.
Devin Singletary feels like the one who's going to be more consistent.
Last year, Josh Allen had 122 rushing attempts. That has to go down. Like, that's not okay Lamar last year, 134. He got injured.
His body type is almost built more to take the beatings compared to like the RGs, the Lamars. He has such a huge body type that he's kind of built like a tight end. He's built like an elite tight end. But I agree it needs to happen less because it doesn't matter who you are, you can get injured.
Exactly. And especially trying to make the playoffs, Gabriel Davis coming in to be an elite breakout guy. Devin Singletary kind of found his ground. Stephon Diggs is definitely there. Dawson Knox had a good year this past year. Josh Allen cannot get hurt, and you eliminate that by dumping the ball off more. Maybe that's not something they want to do.
Yeah.
You know, get James Cook out wide, get Singletary out wide, whatever the case may be, just eliminate the rushing attempts for Josh Allen so these guys can have the opportunity to produce.
All right, guys, comment down below. Let us know where you stand on this topic, who are you taking, and let us know why.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch
now,
it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.